Singapore, Mengyu, World Ranking 22, seated number 60. Representing Japan, Kato Miyu, World Ranking
Dzień dobry and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2016 ITTF World Tour Polish Open, a major series on the World Tour. And coming live from Warsaw, Poland, I'm Adam Bobrow, your commentator. And getting into the match, we've got Mengyu of Singapore versus Miyu Kato of Japan. Should be an exciting showdown here. Our officials for this match, head umpire from Poland, Robert Dietrich, and assistant umpire, also from Poland, Wojciech Cierlica. The officials have been outstanding so far this tournament, and so have the appearances of young Japanese women players. I talked to you a little bit in the last match about how many professional women players there are in Japan. It's quite impressive. Ever since Ai Fukuhara was crying at 5 years old, the nation started following the sport, and quite differently than the men's situation, women can be professionals without having to work other jobs a lot more. There are about 6 professional players on the men's side and probably about 30 on the women's side. Miyu Kato, at 17 years old, is the 27th seed in this tournament, currently world rank number 62. Miyu Kato, I've said that twice now. Kato has played in the Youth Olympic Games in 2014, played the bronze medal match, but lost to Lily Zhang of the United States. Has shown some impressive play over the years and is having quite a tournament so far here. These two have faced off once before. It was earlier this year at the Hungarian Open in January of 2016, 4-3. Miyu Kato was the winner right there. Mengyu from Singapore, 26 years old, 9 years older than her opponent, is the 16th seed in this tournament, world rank number 23 currently. Has had some ups and downs, but I felt like she played a strong tournament in Malaysia for her team at the World Team Championships. So as far as world rankings go, Mengyu has been in and out of the top 20, and outside of the World Championships, had some struggles in the last year, but to get here, as I mentioned, pulled off an upset to be the 16th seed and make it to the quarterfinals. Beating someone like Sehyo-won in the last round, 4-2, can definitely boost someone's not only self-esteem and confidence, but their world ranking on a major. Mengyu before that beat Honoko Hashimoto, who's relatively new to the international tournament scene, one of many young Japanese women on their way up. And in the opening round, it was Yana Noskova, 4-0 for Mengyu. So Mengyu's dropped 4 games so far this tournament in the main draw. And Miyu Kato started off beating Caroline Kumahara. Saw that match, it was 4-1. Kumahara has been playing quite well as well. After that, Kato beat Feng Tian Wei. That's a huge upset right there. One of the top seeds in the tournament, 4-2. And then after that, in front of the home crowd, beating Katarzyna Kujibowska of Poland. So Miyu Kato definitely showing that she's prepared to join players such as Miyu Hirano, Mima Ito, and Hina Hayata is one of the top youngsters from Japan, starting off this best of 7 with the serve. Now you might not recognize the coach for Miyu Kato. It's Koji Kato, her father. Fortunate break there. Miyu Kato, an only child. Her father wasn't a professional player either. Real passion for the sport, hobby player. Now Mengyu's style, as you can see, she's very lanky, thin and fast. It's very fast, rapid racket speed. From flat shots to spin shots on both sides, she can be quite aggressive, but Kato has shown us already how flexible her wrist is on that backhand receive. There's going to be a little discussion here maybe about if that caught the back edge. Mengyu says, yep, looks like they agree. And Mengyu gets the point. And after several relatively passive shots, Kato keeps the ball on the table, but Mengyu sneaks it past. Again, keeping the top spin on the ball, quite important. Kato is able to move it around, keep it deep on the table. And while her blocking is very solid, she keeps many on the table. I think she's going to have to initiate a bit more, look for opportunities to get in early. Not too often we see that from inverted rubber on both sides. The backhand side spin receive. A lot of defensive players with short pips use that. See how much body there. Kato gets into that shot. Really springing the legs, getting the back up and in. A little late on the step around to play the short side of the table. Sometimes that hesitation costs you the window of opportunity and the point. It was such an aggressive receive from over the table. The follow-up shots kept deep on the table by Mengyu, diffusing the power of Kato. This time it makes it. Bit of side and top on that receive from the backhand. Kato's shown versatility with the wrist from the side spin on the banana flip over the table. That last shot you just saw coming around the outside of the ball. But Mengyu seems to be the one to initiate the attacks. Stays aggressive here to take the point. Look how much spin is on that ball and that push. There's that receive again, working the angles out wide to the forehand side. Now in the women's game, we see a lot of backhand to backhand rallies in general, trying to find each other's middle. But Kato playing a wide angle there, able to hit it behind the weight and momentum of her opponent. Kato with a bit of a run. What felt like a dominant game so far to Mengyu until the last 3 points. It's really turned around. Beautiful shot, and when do you see that? A full-on tomahawk serve, tough to read. Not just an outside coming around the outside of the ball, but a step around full-on attack after a tomahawk shot into the body. Seemed to almost take the breath of Mengyu away. 1 point game. Gonna see the tomahawk again. Back edge again, Mengyu. Second time this game, and at a big point, could have been 9-9. And I think Kato was hoping for a step around opportunity, but Mengyu changed up the placement, played it deeper into the body on the backhand side. Now 2 game points for Singapore's Mengyu. The backhand spank shot right down the forehand side, a little bit on the middle, but Mengyu right on top of the ball and takes it 11 points to 8. We'll be back for game 2 right after this. Back for game 2, Singapore's Mengyu taking game 1 after an exciting run from Miyu Kato to get back to 8 points. Come down 4-9. Soft touch on the receive, leaving it half long. So much power on that banana flip over the table. But Mengyu is right there and plays it the opposite direction. Look at this change of direction. So confident. Low to the net, bending away. It's a very encouraging and promising receive, though, from Kato. But serve comes up just a little bit, and Mengyu recognizes it. Last moment looked like she was going to push. Being able to change your mind and have short strokes in table tennis, just amazing at this level how fast they can do it. A bit of change on the contact there from the tomahawk. Comes around the back side of the ball, makes it a little bit more difficult to read. As far as balance goes, Miyu Kato is known a little bit to be running around. Balance isn't exactly her specialty, but power, versatility, and shot, she's a real fighter for every ball. While scrappy's not the perfect term, it sort of feels like it might be. Kato creating different shots at the last moment. You could see there she had a soft block early on. Spin shots, just really changes up every ball. Not exactly a rhythm player like others. Probably by about an inch off the corner of the table. Last time these two played, it went to a 7th and deciding game, and it was Miyu Kato who won. Beautiful serve right there. Looks like she's coming over the top of the ball, but not as much topspin as Mengyu thought was on it. But Mengyu's versatility as well has been very effective. Soft and spinny, followed up by a deep shot, keeping her opponent moving in and out on the table, taking advantage of the off-balance factor. Mengyu covered the middle very well in that rally. Kato fighting to stay in, get a few more shots back on the table. That deep opening, look how low that block comes back. You could really see in slow motion how much it was a block, changing the pace on the ball. And the long wingspan, the long arms in reach of Mengyu retrieve those balls just barely. It all starts with the serve from Kato, a very unique serve. Almost seems like she's contacting the ball behind her body. A bit more side spin there, and the follow-up flat hit from the forehand side ties it up. Now, I talked to you a little bit about the rich history of Japanese table tennis on the women's side. Look at the underspin on that ball. But Singapore women also have quite some history. In 2010, they pulled off the upset over the Chinese national team at the World Championships. The last time and the first time in quite some time that China's been beaten. Before that, the year 2000 for the men, Sweden took down China. Mengyu, I believe, is the fourth player on the bench for Singapore at that time. But her teammate, sidekick Feng Tianwei, took 2 wins in that epic win for Singapore over China. Kato now in the lead. Excellent counter, times it just right and takes advantage of having Kato out of position on the backhand side. Not even by a lot, but just turning to take it from the middle. You could see the step around their body comes just around the corner. The expensive shot from Kato. And this game is definitely tighter early on than game 1 was. Remember, 9 years in difference as far as experience. Kato with the serve, 17 years old. Mengyu, 26. Clever idea, but a lot of side spin. Stepping so far out to the backhand to do this tomahawk serve. This is a dodge my forehand, I dare you serve. Try to play it wide, see what happens. Heavy push though, well placed. A long push can be very useful, especially if it's placed well. And that one sure was right on the crossover point for Mengyu. Heavy side and under, Mengyu with the subtle contact, barely following through on that serve. And the relatively new Singaporean coach. Had a chance to see him at a few tournaments so far this year. Well placed, just barely off the back edge of the table, and low enough. Kato handcuffing Mengyu, and now has a game point to take game 2. Heavy spin again, and the ball kicks up and out. It's Miyu Kato who takes game 2 to tie it up at 1 game apiece. We'll be back for game 3 to see who takes the lead right after this short break.
总比直接给你的想法，他现在是跟你摆转的时候，有的时候你这一块，你看刚才这个反应，其实该有种，他现在抢的是这样摆他先上先， 现在要是劈长还是有效果，他也拉的是对劲的，快就抬上去，是吧？你也可以偏死，你不行你就挺死，接发球不行就戳出去，节奏都挺好的啊。
The players are coming back for game 3. It's tied up at 1 game apiece. In red, we've got Japan's Miyu Kato at 17 years old. Again, world rank number 62. There's so many strong female players from Japan. If you aren't an avid follower of the sport, this might be your first opportunity to see Miyu Kato do her thing. That kicking tomahawk serve, again, very versatile in her placement and spin. Sometimes a bit more backspin on it. Sometimes kicking with topspin and anything in between. The step around forehand can be dangerous. You can see Kato hitting her hips saying, you gotta stay low, get ready to move back. Up just a little bit too straight. It's a powerful shot, but it leaves open the other side of the table, which Mengyu has exploited on several occasions so far this match. Soft touch from Kato, though. And that touch has come in very handy on the receive game. She's changed up her placement from a heavy spin to light spin, really keeping Mengyu guessing on the third balls. And unless that serve is deep into the backhand or the crossover point on the body, just came a little bit long, gave Mengyu the opening attack. I guess the other possibility is if the spin is heavy enough or deceptive enough, even if it comes off the table, it's going to be trouble for Mengyu. Look how much spin is on that ball. Now, sometimes the spin of the ball changes. Of course, you can't change it intentionally yourself, but if it's near, I'd say, light underspin, it can end up being topspin after 2 bounces on the table, just a little bit of friction. It appeared to be what happened in the last serve. Miss hit there from Kato, but what an angle. The backhand to open up and play it off the side. Flat hit right off the bounce. That is not an easy shot. You could hear by the contact how flat it was. Watch it one more time. Bit of side spin. Racket head straight up. What an unusual shot. Kato full of surprises. And the powerful opening backhand. Talked a little bit about her balance and talked to the coaches about it. Her game is quite unusual for opponents. Again, a player with less rhythm makes it very tough to predict for the opponent. Tough to allow a rhythm player to get into their rhythm. But that shot was punished. Mengyu sees the opportunity after a soft shot comes up, takes it right away. Deceptive serve, subtle contact again from in near the body. Bit of a shovel coming around the outside. 2 in a row, looked like topspin. Kato was fooled. Both players showing they've got some tricks up their sleeves in their service variation. But at the second towel break of the game, Kato wiping off and Mengyu staying focused at the table. the serve comes back. Mengyu has had a bit of trouble receiving that serve throughout. Still, Kato prevails in the touch game. Top of the net, but stays on Mengyu's side. Kato getting the serve back into action. Sometimes the player will discover a serve is so effective a little bit later in the match. Kato's been using it well, even the backhand over the forehand side. A proud father and coach in the corner. And it's 5 game points for Miyu Kato. Soft spinny backhands to the middle, testing Mengyu. Takes it 11-5. Miyu Kato takes a 2-1 lead, and we'll be back for game 4. Stay right here.
Time.
And the players are back for game 4. It's Miyu Kato of Japan in red, the 17-year-old who's leading 2-1 over the experienced Mengyu at 26 years old from Singapore. Mengyu starting off now with the serve. Break off the corner there. Mengyu, we see a little bit more, I'd say, spring in her step out here, looking a bit more active, trying to turn and take the forehand when she can. Now, as strong as her backhand is, her forehand is definitely her greatest threat. Change the length, and the follow-up backhand spin shot is loaded with spin. It's been a rare occasion that we've seen Mengyu miss a counter on the forehand side, occasionally trying to go too wide with it. Now, this might go without saying, as both of these women are professionals, but Mengyu, not only racket speed, but her whole body is very strong. Was able to be a part of a workout on a light day with her, and it was still enough to leave many men sore. Outstanding rally. Kato covering the wide balls on the backhand side. Really showing her versatility in the reach. Look how wide that ball is from Mengyu. As long as you can get there, it can come back just as wide. Kato playing the smart angle off the bounce. That was the balance issue. A bit fooled. Mengyu taking the backhand wider out to the forehand side. The element of surprise is priceless out here. Anything to get the opponent to hesitate, in general, is going to be to your advantage. We've talked a lot about how, I guess, scrappy or how every shot is quite different from Kato. It's making it very difficult for Mengyu to anticipate, read what's on the ball. Back edge again. Trouble reading the serve. Look at this, loosens up with all the fingers there. Except the pointer and the thumb, of course, to hang on to the racket. The tomahawk serve we don't see too much in the women's game. Mengyu taking back control. Yeah, I was just trying to think of other women that use the tomahawk. Ding Ning using the reverse a lot more, but this year so far has brought back the traditional tomahawk serve. Let's see one more time here at the top of the net. Just missing the back edge. That's frustration. Mengyu. Even the grip of the racket looks a little bit unusual for Miyu Kato. And the backhand play when she's over the table. Watch the angle of the racket when she comes in. And the Angry Bird flustered reaction there. This could be the turning point in the match. It's either a 3-1 lead for Kato or tied up at 2-2 by Mengyu. We've seen a few powerful shots on the receive game from Kato, but once the rally gets started, she tends to play more for the spin. A little bit flat, more forward motion there on that last ball. Of course, still keeping the top spin on. Partially timing, I think, and partially wrist, but Kato generates a lot of spin on her shots, whether it's a top spin shot or a push. I think that could be Mengyu trying to change up her placement in the last moment, instead of going cross court, trying to play the short side of the table. The flat hit goes long. Kato's made it on a few occasions so far. And it's tough to counter this shot when it comes back. Top spin pops it up for the third ball attack. Good thing for Kato that she could drive Mengyu off the table a little bit. Mengyu on several occasions has blocked it down the line out to the forehand side for a winner. And that curving shot off the forehand side almost comes back to the table. Kato on the defensive end of this point. Several difficult shots there to the short side of the table from Mengyu, coming across the body to make the short stroke to the short side. Second serve here and a chance to tie it up. And she does. Solid serve. Kato's body language is also a bit interesting. There's that side spin, the banana flip from over the table. More and more women players, the young ones, starting to use that. Some of the young Singaporeans. Lin Ye. But Kato with the last 2 serves in a row this game, we'll see. And almost dangles it off the table to the middle. A little more into the body side. But still comes just long enough that it puts her on the defensive for the 3rd ball. She's changing up her placement now. Wouldn't be surprised to see a tomahawk here. Wants to make sure there's no dishonest bounce out there, unpredictable hop off her side of the table. A break off the top of the net to deuce it up. Mengyu played the point very well. But it was a touch game of Kato to save it. On a few occasions now, that forehand counterattack have not landed for Kato. It's interesting to see somebody rehearsing so much out there. Good full arm stroke. I think a little bit wider than Kato would have wanted it. Game point back to Mengyu. And a pendulum serve, topspin deep into the body. This is how sparingly using a serve can make it effective. Again, the element of surprise. 95% tomahawks in the last 2 games. Finally, a pendulum serve for an outright point. Second deuce point here. Mengyu playing very positively, looking for that forehand counterattack at the earliest opportunity. Sets up her 3rd ball. Let's see what Kato does for the serve here against game point. Back to the pendulum. 2 in a row have not been returned. And look at that body language. Mengyu, the most common serve in table tennis, has been surprising. And look how much spin is on that. A lot of side, a little bit of under to go with it. 3rd deuce point this game. And that is a break Kato escapes. After a well-played point, Mengyu pushes Kato off the table. Both sides of the racket being used aggressively by Mengyu. Strong opening there with the backhand. Has her opponent where she wants her, but still just missing long. Game point to Kato. And of course, it's the pendulum serve, 3 in a row to save the game in a 3-1 lead for Miyu Kato. What an exit to game 4. I guess it was game 3, that was game 4. And we'll be back with a new one in just a moment. Stay right here. And as time is called, what you just saw finish was, of course, Game 4, and we're here for Game 5. It's a 3-1 lead for Miyu Kato of Japan. First one to pick up the racket. And as far as plot twists go, the tomahawk serve starring in games 2 through 4. But at the very end, when it came down to it, the pendulum served 3 in a row for Miyu Kato to be 1 game away from moving on to the semifinals. And not just in any World Tour event here, but in a major series in Poland. The flat hit comes down this time, well anticipated as Kato slaps it back off balance. Full extension there just to stay in the point. This time, still leaning again and forcing the Y from YMCA out of Mengyu. I guess it could be the Y and U. Looks like Kato's got something in her eye. And there's her lean again. Very atypical form on the forehand side. Counter goes just long. Mengyu's keeping the spin on. Talked about how quick her racket speed is, how much spin she can generate. It's going to force Kato to read the ball very well and time it just right on her counters. But the deep push into the body forces a rushed shot and earns the point. What a frustrating experience for Mengyu as Kato keeps the ball on the table, spinning it. One big shot early on in the rally, but after that, just enough pressure to tempt Mengyu to try and take a big shot. Left open on the forehand side. Kato standing there like a deer caught in headlights, frozen. Rarely do we see the chop block in the women's game. Some peculiar body language from Mengyu. Kato taking advantage of the towel break. Chance to regroup a little bit. Clean the brow of sweat. And this is more, I'd say, the point that Mengyu wants to play. Backhand to backhand, deep on the table, keeping the rhythm. Short strokes until the opportunity comes up. And even still a short stroke, but just to play it a little deeper and wider on the table. That feels more familiar to Mengyu. Of course, the step around forehand whenever she can get it in is very effective. Kato sees the opportunity. Much like in other sports, recognizing the opportunity, shot selection can be huge out here. A good sign that we're seeing a player who's on her way up in the world. Now, as far as on her way up, I was talking to you about how Miyu Kato had been taking down some big names in this tournament. You can hear the support on the side of Mengyu, the Pialeung in the corner. up 5 points right now. But her teammate Feng Tianwei has been beaten by Miyu Kato already in this tournament. So if Kato can take down the top 2 players, the leaders of Singapore, in the same tournament on her way to the semifinals, you'll be seeing a major jump in her world ranking. First time we've seen the pendulum return, but not strong enough. The push comes long, and the third ball attack on the forehand side from Kato wins the point. Again, that half-long serve, just deep enough to make sure that Mengyu's push comes off the table. Changing up the service again, the shovel to the forehand side. So much power, times it just right and cracks through. Mengyu can't give an inch of room right now on that forehand side. Ball comes up just a little bit and Kato's there. Forehand once again. Spinny backhands to set it up, but 4 points in a row for Kato. For a while, it looked like this match was going to go at least to the next game. But the placement, the speed, Kato difficult to predict where she's going to hit the ball. Tomahawk coming back. Top spin, over covered, and Mengyu off the top of the net. Now we got a timeout here. I think this is a good time for a timeout at latest. After being up 9-3, losing 5 points in a row. Coach calling emergency, pulling the brakes here. Icing the kicker if possible, and it's a father-daughter moment on the Japanese side. Koji Kato. A one-man coach, or a one-woman coach, I guess you would say. It's very fascinating to watch Kato play. And for many of you out there watching at home, this might be your first time really seeing her play against a world-class player. If you want to go back and watch matches, you can go on ITTF.com/ITTV and check out a library of outstanding matches over recent years. Going a bit back as well. You can also join on the Facebook page, the International Table Tennis Federation, official ITTF Facebook page. And see all sorts of exciting highlights from here at the Polish Open, some outstanding European players, along with many of the top players from Asia. Of course, Japan quite strong here, very prevalent in this tournament. The Japanese women's team quite popular throughout Japan. So you'll be able to see a lot of them on the World Tour. Well, all the greats are here. From Japan, Miyu Kato, really fighting to make a name for herself. In the international spotlight, back from the timeout, down 8-9. And misses on the attack. After the variation, they're slow. Every shot, changing the pace. And we've got a game point for Mengyu. The hand is up on the side of Kato, the umpire holding up the hand there. A little bit odd. Quick apology for the mistake, but they're back. Mengyu with 2 game points. And a flat hit to the short side of the table, right into the net. Mengyu escapes, and the timeout pays off. It's 2-3, and we'll be back for Game 6 just after this.
就有这种，我上来就围过去就是扔箱子，其他就这种旋转。
The players are back for Game 6. Mengyu down 2-3 against Miyu Kato in red. Now head-to-head, Mengyu, at least point-wise, is only down 48 points to 52 of Kato. At the edge of the table, ooh, and a Pyongyang from the crowd on an edge ball. I will say that the focus of professional players is quite impressive. I'm sure Kato thinks nothing of it. Softer serve, but still gets a long push for the third ball attack, and Kato with her first point this game. How much underspin is on that ball. Only in slow motion can we read it so clearly. Kato rehearsing her balance a little bit. Beautiful angle. Sees Mengyu off balance over the table and exploits the open cross-court forehand shot. Not a lot of time there. That's a backhand, a steady backhand. It's not like she stepped around the corner, but just her positioning. Mengyu actively looking for spaces on the table. She has to keep that shot low and deep, too. Otherwise, Kato's going to counter it out to the forehand. Faster serve this time with the tomahawk, getting right into the rally. And the placement deep into the backhand. Gets Mengyu in a bit of a reactionary rally. Quality getting better and better. Kato anticipating, sees the counter coming back, starts moving wide to the forehand. And at this level, players know as soon as they hit a ball wide, it's more likely to come back wide, so they have to break and cover the cross-court shot. So much spin, the flat hit goes out. Kato had a juicy floater right there, but very difficult to control with all the racket speed from Mengyu. Well, it's tough to know what anyone's thinking at any given point in time. Miyu Kato, from her body language to her facial expressions, is very mysterious in her game. Even just the technique. The heavy push keeps Mengyu in the point, wins it for her. Talked about momentum in the last match. It's going to be very important for Kato to not come into a seventh after this. And the last 4 times I've seen pendulum serves from Kato, 3 of them have not been returned. That's some power on the backhand. When's the last time we saw a backhand punch from Kato? Really showing that she's got all sorts of different weapons on both sides. Spinny opening backhand to the short side. Kato making her comeback here, 2 in a row. Now just down 2 herself. And she's got the serves. We know she's got the serves. Earned the opportunity. We saw the pendulum again. I think it was a wise decision to bring it back, but Mengyu's adjusted on a receive game, getting into the rally. Every ball just a little bit different. That one more shallow on the table, and Mengyu reaching out in front, a little bit behind the ball. It's here trying to keep the weight forward, move it in. It's tough to do in these fast-paced rallies. Being light on the feet, having the core strength. And a clever attempt, but the contact is not there. It's 3 game points for Mengyu to send this to a deciding 7th game. Inside-out forehand comes back. Not quite a chop block, but Kato getting there late, covering. Watch this. It is a chop block. What do you know? Some side spin on it, keeps it deep on the table. 1 game point saved, and now a serve or 2. The backhand punch shot right into the body, and Kato 1 point away from deucing it up in game 6. No timeouts left for Mengyu, where experience comes to life on the court. Tomahawk, let's see. It was not. Sets it up and turns to a pendulum. Following up with the backhand, Kato gets herself right back in, saves 3 game points, and here we are at deuce in game 6. And the last shot in the rally seemed like the best opportunity for Mengyu. Never really found the rhythm in that point. Kato with 4 points in a row now has a match point to continue her winning streak and take down the top 2 players from Singapore in the same tournament. Just missing the back edge after recovering a net ball. And this is a fight. Miyu Kato showing that she's focused to hang in there for several shots. Some of the best points we see in a match are often around match point, on match point even. Crucial moments here in the match. Second deuce point this game. And the ball will not come down on the table. Mengyu back in game point position here and a chance to send this to the decider. Mengyu really finding the location there, moving Kato around. Deep backhand back to the middle. The fight goes on. 3rd deuce point in the 4th towel break this game. Kato's been known to use the towel every opportunity, and sure enough, she goes for it. And turning wisely there from the middle. The very last moment, changing up the angle. If you telegraph, if you let your opponent know with your body language where you're going to go, you'll end up paying for it at this level. Seemed like a cell phone right near the court. Flat hit once again goes out. And Kato cannot buy a flat-hitting forehand against that spinny shot. Mengyu with so much topspin. Sometimes keeping just a bit of topspin on your counters, even if they're relatively flat, can make the difference in a shot going in or not. Although that's the risk Kato was willing to take. Counter goes long, and the counter loop this time completely the opposite direction. A spinny forehand to forehand rally, and it's Mengyu who takes it 14-12 to send this to the deciding 7th game. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. Stay right here for the final game, the women's singles quarterfinal.
形成相似，对于两个都是你上分，就是直接就掉拉下来，就拉高球的掉下来，搓长，你看个侧身3个下网，上前过，挺好，就记住这3点啊。
We're back for game 7. Mengyu having a bit of a laugh at the end of her minute with her coach. And Miyu Kato from Japan, the 17-year-old right there, was up 3-1 before losing the last 2. Again, the last time these two played was earlier this year at the Hungarian Open, and it went to a 7th. It was Miyu Kato who won. She's going to be starting off with the serve. What are you going to do about that? A strong opening backhand and a forehand exiting the side of the table as wide as they come. A low to the net the serve was. And a beautiful quick reaction from Kato. And that's what happens when you keep, yes, that's exactly what happened. Kato showing us with her hands out there. She keeps edging me wider and wider out to the forehand side. At some point, she's going to either have to turn and take a forehand from the middle. Otherwise, it just leaves open too big of a gap on the backhand side. The eye contact is there. The fighter's coming out. Kato with her saw looks right in the eyes of her opponent. Of course, that are focused elsewhere. Some different shots than we've seen. Kato with a side topspin cross court. Doesn't land the short side of the table though. Call it less confidence or call it learning from your mistakes, but the flat hitting forehand, haven't seen too many of those taken in a while now. Strong receive, Mengyu deep on the table. Quick way to take a point. We got the timeout here. Kato talking to her coach / father, Koji Kato. Now, as far as the pendulum serve, it had been effective earlier on when it was a little bit on the shorter side of half long. If it's going to be a long serve, it's got to be really deep on the table. Something to surprise the opponent, get him out of position. The importance of being able to breathe and say effectively out there. Get a lot of oxygen to the brain. It's very important to avoid cramping. Make sure that people are clear-headed, no pun intended, but focused rather. And remember, the last time these two played, on paper, the underdog, it was Kato who won. She's the 27th seed. And in the final 8 so far at this tournament, world ranked 62. 26 women here who are expected to perform better than Miyu Kato. And so far, only 7 others who performed as well as Kato. Back from the timeout with their serve. Outstanding shot from Mengyu. Slow, spinny, low ball. Watching that come over the net, it seemed like it would surely win the point, but Mengyu timing it just perfectly. That topspin has been overwhelming, out of control in every sense. I guess in control from Mengyu, but uncontrollable from Miyu Kato. Catches it just a little bit late. A lot of factors on a shot, keeping it low to the net, loaded with spin, deep on the table. And they've switched sides of the table now. As Mengyu has 5 points. Once again, the flat hit does not land from over the table. Of course, the table and obstacle creates a bit more difficult shot on the forehand side there. You could see, even though the ball was up just a little bit, still very difficult shot for Kato. That last ball hits the hand and then the racket, but it all counts. You could hear the sound, see the ball come back floating. As far as unpredictable shots, one of the most difficult shots to read is a ball that comes off the hand and then the racket. Now between the two of them, when Kato spins the ball and it comes up a little bit, Mengyu has had not too much trouble reading and countering. You might recall Kato's backhand, the punch shot, being effective, spinning 1 or 2 and punching deep to the length of the table, cross court. The touch game earns her the point. Kato's touch has been very effective in shutting down third ball attacks. Even half-long pushes that Mengyu's had trouble making, I'd say, solid contact with at the back of the table. And despite the tomahawk serve surprising Mengyu and earning a very crushable third ball, Kato has trouble with that inside-out forehand for the winner. Mengyu keeping enough underspin on the receive, difficult to do to a topspin serve. Not advised by most. Mengyu showing authority with the racket speed out to the forehand side and a 4-point lead now. The pattern was created. Kato has shown that she's going to cover the middle with the backhand before turning on the forehand. And we've got 5 match points for Mengyu after being down 1-3 to take revenge on her opponent right here. Again, it's their second time playing this year and only their second time head-to-head in their career. Mengyu, 5 match points. And the flat hit goes out once more. Mengyu escapes, and what a performance to come back against the 17-year-old world rank number 62, 27 seed, Miyu Kato. And what a tournament for Kato, but Mengyu will live to see the next round, moving on to the women's singles semifinals, an epic battle, and Mengyu, the tougher of the two. We'll be back. We've got men's singles quarterfinals coming up after this. It's going to be Jun Mizutani and Taku Takakiwa right after this.
后面那3点，哎，3点，拖长，打下网吧，吊起来，都赢，围过去就可以。不要老想着第一点多少质量，这大概没有威胁你的东西。
第一就接的挺顺的，我就觉得后面还行，但我没想到这个，因为我一往这边站，他往这边站。
你主要是难受，他赢一赢，他就没完没了。他只要一输就快，他东一个西一个的，他是按照这种惯例走的，输了他就走了。 赢了他就盯着那个地方不放，对你的不会。